Hey y'all, it's Diana from the Dianaverse, and I am here today to give you the full moon forecast for August of 2022. Before I get started on that, I just want to mention a couple little things I got going on. I am going to be taking a trip to do ancestral healing in Ireland and Scotland in September. So exciting, it's coming right up. And I have a GoFundMe going to help me get a more professional phone. I'm at the point, you get to that point where your phone won't do the thing anymore and it's time to replace it. So, and I've spent all the money I've saved on this trip so far. So I'd really appreciate if you feel called to follow me on this journey. I would really like to be able to have this phone so that I can share with you guys the plants and the landscapes and the ancestral culture from those two countries. If you want to accompany me on that journey and you feel called to help me out, check for my GoFundMe underneath in the profile. And also, I would like to invite everybody to my Patreon page where I'm doing a year of flowers, all kinds of things with flowers. Some of it's herbalism, some of it's crafts. A lot of it is foodie because I do foodie stuff. And that's a lot of fun. So I'll put my Patreon link down below also. And if you just want to see what the other things I do, because I do all kinds of stuff, I'm on Instagram at Dianaverse_plant mysteries. I'll put that in the link below too. And I do my textiles, natural dyes. I go out in the forests and the mountains a lot, and I post pictures of that with IDs of plants and just forest bathing and fun stuff, which I would really love to have a better camera for because I got a cheaper camera last time and I get good pictures out of it, but it's a lot harder. So onward to the Aquarius full moon that we've got going on this month. And as you can see, Sun in Leo, I managed to film this right as the sun is coming through my window, which is kind of fun. I always love when those synchronicities link up. So we've got our sun in Leo, and our full moon is always on the opposite. The reason it looks full is because it's on the opposite side from the sun, and so we see the full reflection being reflected back, and that's our full moon. So it's going to be the opposite sign in the the horoscope drawing, and that is going to be Aquarius. It's about 6:30 p.m. today, Pacific Standard Time. I'm here in the Pacific Northwest, so that's why I use Pacific Standard Time. And it's going to be at 19 degrees. If you want to look at your chart and see exactly where that's falling, what house that might be in, I'll have a link below where you can pull up a free horoscope drawing of your natal chart if you don't know where that is. That's kind of where the emphasis is. There is a lot going on. There has been so much going on this month since the new moon when I did my new moon forecast. And I've really tried personally to keep that super uplifting vibe I had going on the 1st of August. It was the 1st or the 2nd when we had the new moon. Excuse me. But there is some fairly big energy going on. So you may have been dealing with a little bit of lingering anxiety and heaviness. That's not just happening on the one day where you have the aspects. These are bigger planets, so the outer planets, so they tend to kind of linger and permeate things. So, we've got the Leo, that's like the heart chakra. The crystal for that is peridot, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And that heart chakra is your antidote to whatever heaviness you might be feeling around the Aquarius full moon, because that full moon is conjunct with Saturn. Saturn is always limitations and responsibilities, things that are a little heavier. So if you get all up in your head, because Aquarius is an air sign and you got anxiety and stuff going on, try to drop down into your heart. The moon is also the body, so drop down into your body. If you have any somatic practices you do, like dance or yoga, something, all of that can kind of help you get grounded from your head and back into your heart. And it's a great time for self-love, self-care. With the Leo moon, people talk about Leo maybe being a bit self-centered, and I guess that can be true. They're preoccupied with their own authentic self, but then they do that to show everybody else how you can shine, how you can be an individual, how you can be yourself. And Leo is going to be the shadow side for the Aquarian, the age of Aquarius. So anytime you're feeling that heaviness or responsibility coming on, it's good to use the antidote of the opposite sign. So you go to that Leo, you look for the love in your life, your self-care, your authentic self, how you express yourself. And Aquarius is the bigger picture, so that can be like, oh, the limitations. Oh, you have to be realistic. And Leo has that sort of, you could call it naive, but it's also just a genuine exuberance for life. And that can really be soothing and empowering sometimes. So there's a lot of fixed sign energy in general. We've got a grand cross going on, and y'all can comment in the bottom and let me know if you just like to know, like, what does it mean? Like, not go into all the aspects, but just tell me, well, what's going on. Or if you like to hear some of those aspects, maybe you're learning about astrology and you would like to know a little bit more about that, because I'm always trying to figure out where are the balances and what people want. So I'm throwing in a little bit of aspects and mostly trying to tell you, like, what they mean. So there's a dynamic cross. There's a dynamic tension going on between the fixed signs. So when you have things crossing, that creates tension. And it's in the fixed signs. So that's your Taurus, your Scorpio, your Leo, and what's the fourth one? Shoot. When I'm on the spot, it goes out of my head. Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Of course, Aquarius. That was so obvious. All right. So we have the fixed sign energies going on. So we're re-examining our structures, our ideas of what we think life is, who we think we are. Ask yourself, is this really true? Like, did I just learn this from my parents? Did I learn this from society? Or are these things really true? Are they fixed in stone? It's like with the cross going on that we have in the sky, like a prism where the light of each of those signs is coming through, and we can see where the structures are in our life, and if those are the colors we really want for those. If you look at where all those fixed sign, where those fixed signs are in your own chart, you can see what areas of your life you've learned things around, and then you can question them. It's always good to question authority anyway, right? And Aquarius is a great time for doing that. Aquarius is a rebel. It's also society, so it can be very fixed, like, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to hold on to that opinion forever. So you might want to examine that. Like, do I really believe this? It can also create a kind of stagnation because those ideas become very fixed. And it's good to periodically kind of toss those up in the air and look at them through a different light. Look at them from the opposite viewpoint. If you're a Leo, like, I happen to be a Leo and I have my Venus in Leo, so happy birthday to me next week. But I can look at things a certain way. I also have, coincidentally, an Aquarius rising ascendant. So I often have a challenge with seeing things two different ways and then having a little bit of a struggle in trying to determine how I want to approach things. And my Saturn is also right there with that Aquarius. The sky really echoes a lot of my chart, particularly right now, so I hope that's not coloring what I'm presenting to you guys. But I have a lot of things in the sign that they're actually in. Aquarius is also like the sign of the other world, like other realms. It's the sign of aliens and technology and things that we don't always think about. So it can be a great way to question the stuff that we have, the structures that we've built around ourselves, and whether we want to change those up from time to time. Saturn is also about discernment. It tells you there's limits. You can only do so much. I know I struggle with that because my Leo side is like, I want to do all the things, all the creative things, everything in the world. And then the Saturn's like, yeah, but you only have so much time. So it's good to use our discernment right now and figure out of all the possibilities that you have, where do you want to focus? Who do you want to be around? Like, what are your groups? Aquarius is a group sign. So are you working with the groups and the people who are really supporting you in your creative endeavors? So you might want to, not necessarily cut people out of your life, but you might change your emphasis to spending more time with certain groups than other groups if that's more supportive for you. It's a thing to think about. So where can you update your ideas, right? I kind of went over that already. And liberate yourself to a new morning, right? You've got Venus coming in the morning, traveling with Leo. That's kind of the morning star right now. So I'm still continuing the practice. I think I mentioned last video on the new moon. I'm doing this sort of meditative process where I look at the sun, not with my eyes open, of course, my eyes closed. You don't want to damage your eyes. And I just kind of breathe in that light, like I breathe with it, and make that a little meditation that I do. And it's very grounding and kind of centering, and it cuts out a lot of the extraneous, Aquarius can be a lot of nervous energy. It's the nervous system, and it's all up in your head. So I found that practice to be really grounding, and I'm continuing to do that throughout this whole Leo season. So you might try that. In some of the Celtic groups that I'm in, they were talking about how the goddess of summer is a solar energy, how the ancient matriarchal systems, they had goddesses as their solar energies. And how would it look different to see the feminine through a solar energy? We always think of the solar as masculine, but what if we thought of that as the feminine energy, that light that sustains things? Like you see the ancient goddesses, like Greek goddess, like Demeter, who's the grain goddess. Well, August would be Lammas. We just had the Lion's Gate. Happens around Lunasa or Lammas, however you look at that from a pagan viewpoint. That's when you are harvesting, gathering the grains. You're storing those grains, and you're going to keep a certain portion of those throughout the winter. You're storing it to be planted again, to become new life at Beltane. So it takes a certain amount of strength and persistence for those seeds to continue holding their life force in the belly of winter. As if you think about it, it's about 9 months from now. So that's like a pregnancy, right? It's nature's pregnancy, where they're holding those grains in her belly until next year. And they will start to awaken like around the opposite season, which is Aquarius again. This is when you would normally have like Imbolc. So before you see the life of the grain starting to grow, they're starting to get ready. They're starting to awaken. The days are getting longer. They feel that solar power. Again, it's that solar power. And they will awaken, and you'll have the life again of next year. So the 2 tarot cards, I wanted to share with you the cards for these signs this season. You've got, hopefully you can see that well, you've got the Strength card, which is for Leo, and it's a woman with golden hair holding the mouth of the lion. And that's the season of Leo, is that season of strength, where she's able to control the forces of nature in order to continue life. And that's the summer queen in the Leo season. And that's when we have the maximum heat and when things are ripening. And then for Aquarius, this isn't focusing the way I would like, but you have the Star card. And if you notice, most of the tarot decks have 7 stars around it. And it's a 7-pointed star at the center. And that's the fairy star. And that goes with Aquarius, right? The intelligence that can reach other realms and can download information and upgrade information. So I work a lot with the fairy star at the subtile. It has 7 points. Because my birthday's on the 16th, which adds up to 7. So it's also the sign of knowledge, of the seeker, of the the spiritual seeker, the knowledge seeker. And I know myself, I'm always seeking more knowledge, more information. So, and I'm really attracted to the Fae and that hidden force that sort of initiates and pollinates the world. So, if you're working with the tarot, you can work with those two cards, the Strength and the Star. And the things that you are germinating and sort of initiating, because the Lion's Gate is sort of an initiation point. It's a cross-quarter date. It's midway between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. You have this portal where you can set intention and initiate things. And then you're going to be working on that and notice what comes up around February, around the time of Aquarius, and see how those projects are progressing. Everything in nature is about cycles, and astrology is based on nature. So it also works with those cycles in a lot of ways. When you get into it, it's really fascinating. So, yeah, that's basically what I have to share. I get ahead of myself sometimes. You'll have to go with me here. But I think I've covered all of the things. So the herb that I'm working with at the moment is ashwagandha. In the hottest part of the year, when everything is really busy, you've got the harvest, you're trying to get out because you realize fall is coming, maybe you're doing all your hiking. I've been out hiking and training myself for this trip to Scotland because there are some sites I want to get to that are out of the way. There's a Temple of the Cailleach, which is about a 10-mile hike. That's a lot for me normally. So I've been out hiking and trying to increase my distance, doing slopes, because I would really like to hike the Fairy Glen where they have the labyrinth. And I would love to bring you guys back all those pictures. I'm going to offer gifts when I'm in those places. Like I want to offer an apple to the Neolithic temple to the Cailleach, which is still being used by the local people there, but they purposely make it a little hard to get to. So I've been working on that. And yeah, whatever your intentions are, put them down below if you feel comfortable, or wait and tell us in Aquarius season how that turned out for you. If you have comments or anything, I'd love to hear them down below. Where is your energy at? How did this ring true for you? Were there any synchronicities? I really love to hear those kinds of things from people and get feedback. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe and like them. It helps my algorithm in YouTube. I put a lot more information on my Patreon because I find with like Facebook and YouTube is just such an open forum for just anything that that can be a little daunting at times. But look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a fantastic full moon full of love for yourself and the people close to you, with fierce creativity, and see you next time at the new moon. All right, thanks. Take care. Oh, I forgot the crystal. Wait a minute. Peridot. Peridot is the crystal for Leo. It's a green clear stone, which goes with the green heart chakra, right? So if you have peridot, work with that this month. All right, take care.